What's up everyone, feeper here hitting you with another video. We're going to be taking a look at the old Dark Knight in PvP for this one. It's actually probably my favorite of the four tanks. It's either this or Paladin, I'm not 100% sure which of the two I like more for PvP. Dark Knight has a lot of unique CC and like mitigation tools that make it very different from how the other four tanks play, or the other three tanks play, excuse me. So let's kind of jump in here. So starting out, you have your basic 3-hit combo, your Soul Eater combo. Got Hard Slash, Siphon Strike, and Soul Eater. So Hard Slash hits for a potency of 1,000. And then Siphon Strike hits for 1,200 and heals, or not heals, but restores 1,000 MP. And then Soul Eater heals you for 100% of the damage done. Generates 25 blood gauge and also hits for a potency of 1,200. And now your blood gauge can either be spent on Blood Spiller, just like in PvE, or Quietus. So Blood Spiller delivers an attack with a potency of 1,500 and restores 1,000 MP. And then Quietus hits for 1,000, but in an AoE and restores 500 MP. So if you can hit 2 or more with Quietus, assuming you don't want the extra potency, try and burst summon from Blood Spiller, it's generally more effective. Storing mana on Dark Knight is actually a really big deal because of the next two abilities that we're going to be talking about. So the first one is Edge of Shadow. Now this is where things kind of start to get interesting. Off global cooldown, just like in PvE, hits for a potency of 1,200. It gives you Dark Side for 15 seconds. And the cool thing is it reduces the target's HP recovered via healing actions. So like, you know, things like Second Wind or healing spells, and or not the Second Wind is in PvP, but well, what's the other one? Oh, I can't think of Bloodbath, that one as well. It reduces all that healing received by 20% for 10 seconds on the target. So, boom, hit him with that, and then for 10 seconds they can't heal, or they don't heal as effectively. Now, the tricky part is that this costs 5,000 mana, and since you only have a cap of 10,000 in PvP, you can only use 2 of these back to back, which can actually be a problem because you also have the Blackest Night, so it behaves very similarly to how it does in PvE. The 6-second barrier, that's 20% of your maximum HP placed on either yourself or a party member, and if the bubble gets popped, as people say, if the shield absorbs the damage that it if it takes the damage that it would absorb, right, it then gives you Dark Arts, which then allows you to cast Edge of Shadow without costing any mana, which is actually really good. Because you're basically, if you can get it off, you basically get an Edge of Shadow cast for half mana, and that's like really huge. So definitely make sure to kind of try to abuse this. It's a really crucial ability. Now next up we have Soul Survivor. It actually makes a return in PvP after being axed in Shadowbringers. Rest in peace. So with the 45-second cooldown, it increases the target's damage taken by 10%. So it's basically like a full swing that doesn't do damage. However, it does last longer, so it's a 10-second duration as opposed to 6. And if the target that it's marked with dies before the duration expires, it gives you 25% of your max HP and mana back, and it increases your blood gauge by 50. So it's something that you definitely want to use in coordination with your team. You know, if you have any macros like I do here that allow you to mark for the countdown who you're going to be attacking, and you can mark them with this, that countdown's over, and then get it to reset and heal you and give you your blood gauge. That's really strong. Next up we have Delirium. This basically is exactly the same as how it is in PvE. The duration is different, but for 6 seconds, it allows you to cast Blood Spiller and Quietus for free, so you don't need the blood gauge for it. You know, generally speaking, you're gonna get, I messed up there because I clipped my GCD, but generally speaking, you can get 3 casts off underneath that, unless you clip or something, or you miss an attack. It's a really good ability for trying to get mana back in a hurry, especially if everyone's kind of clumped up and you can get 3 Quietuses off and get like 4,500 mana back. That's really strong, and it's just good for like doing a bunch of damage as well. And one thing I actually forgot to mention about Dark Side is while you have it active, Blood Spiller and Quietus potencies go up by 500. So from 1500 to 2000 and from 1000 to 1500 respectively. Now next up we have Unmend. This is actually a really cool ability. So it has a 30-second cooldown and it does a potency of 600. But when you use it, obviously it doesn't work on a striking dummy, but when you use it, it has a 10 Yalm draw in. So it's really, really good for, I keep saying really, really good, because a lot of these things are really good. It's excellent for if someone's trying to run away, you can draw them back into your team, or if there's a dancer or a bard just like running around and you're trying to lock them down, it's a good move for that. Or if someone's like diving your healer and you don't have anything else, but you need to get them off of the healer, perfect ability for that, and it's got a pretty short cooldown as well. And then last up, we have Plunge. This is another interesting ability in PvP. So, same gap closer as it is in PvE. Does a potency of 600 with a 30-second cooldown, off global, and it has a 2-second stun. But where it gets interesting is if you record a kill or assist. So basically, if you use it and then a certain amount of time afterwards that the person needs to die. I don't know the exact amount, but if it records a kill or assist, it then resets the cooldown. So you technically, if you use it right and your team capitalizes off of it, you can just like chain stun people over and over again, which is really fun and really strong and definitely really annoying for the other team. Yeah, that's kind of the basic overview of the kit, and I talked a little bit about some of the combos and functionality that it has. So we're going to switch over to some gameplay, and we're going to kind of go more in depth about how to use this effectively. The biggest strength of Dark Knight is that you're able to reduce people's healing received by 20%. Not only does this make killing people faster, as they can't heal as much, but it also makes the healer spend more mana healing so they go faster, which is a big part of winning games. But the tricky part is making sure you always have enough mana for TBN so you can shield someone from death if need be. There are situations where it's more worth it to use an extra Edge of Shadow for burst damage, but generally speaking, once someone's under its effect, don't use it again until it falls off. So once you've got a target and you've applied your healing debuff, you want to try and spiral, as I like to call it. Using Soul Survivor on the same target that has Edge of Shadow on them is most likely going to result in a kill, unless your team gets CC'd or they just aren't coordinating DPS. And if you throw in a Plunge to get it to reset after the kill, you can start chain stunning people, and you're going to get more blood gauge and mana, which means even more mana, which means even more healing reduction, which means even more kills. This is why I like to run Full Swing in addition to having a similar ability already on Dark Knight. Say you Edge of Shadow and Soul Survivor the melee DPS, then Plunge, you get the kill. You switch to the healer or the range DPS, you plunge them, Full Swing so they're taking more damage, Blood Spiller for burst and more mana, then you can Edge of Shadow again to get more healing reduction. You're looking real good for a second kill. Don't be afraid to use Plunge to peel for your team if need be. Just because you don't get the reset on it doesn't mean you wasted the ability. Another good trick is to make sure you always walk towards where you want to pull someone when you use Unmend. Yes, the pull amount is fixed, but because of the server ticks, you want to make sure you're getting that full amount off, so if you want to pull someone back into your team, walk towards your team as you pull them. You'll see me do it in some of the clips. Last few things I'll say before going into the role actions is make sure you're always attacking someone so you're generating mana. Prioritize TBN over Edge of Shadow unless you really need the burst. Saving your teammates is a better bet than getting a kill most of the time, not to mention you'll probably get a free cast of Edge anyways. So for role actions, I already mentioned why I like Full Swing for Dark Knight. Having a second way to increase enemy damage taken when you can chain so much CC together and get the Soul Survivor procs off is pretty strong. I find Reprisal to be a bit more useful than Low Blow since you don't have any damage reduction in your kit, and TBN is so strong and on such a short cooldown that with that, Unmend and Plunge you're generally fine on CC, but Low Blow isn't bad. Again, I don't really think Interject is that great, but it has more of a place on Dark Knight than Paladin, and Rampart is honestly just kind of useless. And that'll be a wrap for Dark Knight in PvP. Thank you everyone for checking out this video, and if you like what you see here, then feel free to drop me a like and subscribe. I have a lot of cool video topics planned for the near future. You can also watch me play Final Fantasy live as well as other games over at twitch.tv/feeper7. And with that, I'll catch you all in the next one.